Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to review the Quant network. So this is a top-down view of this project. You can see that there's some things to be concerned about for price, but that's just because in locality. That's local, local price movement. So I would be cautioned to enter it because of its price movement. But it does have a good distribution of tokens. The token does not have representation with governance, so I put that as an indifferent thing, and then everything else looks pretty good. And so what is the Quant token exactly? So let's dive down into it. It is a blockchain operating system for interoperability with other blockchains. So this thing actually, the first thing right off the bat with Quant network is it is not a blockchain, and it does not store data like a blockchain does. It could be a smart contract architecture, but it does not. It could have logic such as do some kind of programming functionalities, but it does not have memory like blockchains. Now it could have memory in the sense of like just regular computer memory, but blockchain memory is validated by several like on a blockchain. It's several computers reaching agreement on some information in a on the common database, which is the blockchain itself, whereas this one could consult with databases. It could also consult with blockchains. So it is a framework, an OS, an operating system. It is a code layer that exists on top of blockchains. So blockchains are like little pieces, and then the blockchains all connect with each other, and regular computers connect with each other, and even institutions connect with each other, and that's what this Quant network would be. So it is not a blockchain. Now it is not open source, but I think they were mentioning that they are doing some more open source type actions recently. But basically this is what it is right here. Is it Overledger is their major product, and and so you're going to have something called multi-chain apps. So these apps will build on Overledger, and Overledger will connect seamlessly with blockchains, with the world's infrastructure, banks, institutions, whatever, and it'll create a common layer for those interactions. And so it's kind of like trying to create the standards or infrastructure. It is a service layer. So how does the Quant token benefit from what they're doing? Is their service layer. It is a service provided of a common language layer or standards, so that anyone could build an app and it could be easy to access, let's say Stellar, or easy to access Ethereum, or easy to access Bitcoin, or easy to access a bank, or easy to access someone else. And so all of those gateways will be built in the Overledger, and then programmers could build their apps on here, and they don't have to think about accessing all those different networks. So it is like a node service as well. So if you think of it from that angle, so it is kind of like TCP/IP, a common set of rules. And here's another way to look at it. It could be like this could be Quant, and it could have adapters to all the different systems, and you just program here your app, and your app can access any system that it wants. So that's a gist of what this is. So maps, what are maps? Multi-chain applications, automated interactions on blockchains. So, once again, to think about what they offer, like what will be something that would be built on top of Quant would be multi-chain applications, which will arise someday. I imagine someday that there will be some website that you go to, and you'll be able to do many different complex pieces of financial stuff and NFT management, etc. And you'll be able to log into one place, kind of like a Facebook, but like not Facebook as we know it today, but some place where you will be able to log in and you'll be able to do all your financial stuff, NFTs, and it'll get more and more abilities, and it'll just be one login. So something like that could be built on Quant. Okay. So on their page, they said, what services are they building? So, the multi-ledger tokens. So now imagine that like a token exists on a token exists on Ethereum, and that token can be carried over to another system or carried on another system. So that token, in essence, exists in the overledger, because they could create a token in any one of these chains, and then it could bridge across to these other chains. So that's one service that they can offer, is multi-ledger tokens. They can offer end-to-end DLT, distributed ledger network. So that's basically what we talked about before. Crypto payments, overledger, once again, what we mentioned before, Oracle blockchain, and then they connected to Cordia network, Hyperledger Fabric, and Hyperledger BSU, so an Ethereum client. So, just basically some of the things that I just covered. So basically, they're selling access to this layer. It's future-proof according to them. Now I have some criticisms of that, because like I would say, like, if you have some layer like this, you're going to have to maintain all these nodes. And so like if this blockchain upgrades, you have to upgrade whatever functionality is there. If this one upgrades, you got to upgrade the logic at the connection. So I can imagine that could be a difficult task with staying up with. But, that's introducing several layers of complexity, suggesting that, if you have some layer here, being able to keep up with all these upgrading systems and constantly updating your, if the chains remain constant like Bitcoin, it's not a big deal. But with something like Polkadot's going to be changing all the time. Cosmos going to be changing all the time. So the gateway to that system will have to constantly be upgraded and will require, version updates, which I do imagine that those kind of systems will be kinked out eventually anyways. But, for now, I don't know. Like, well, it depends on how they build these systems out. But they have to make it to where it's a seamless process. They want new blockchains to be simply added. The QNT token interacts with all these connected systems. Basically, we'll get into how the token benefits. This whole overledger system can contain smart contract logic. However, it doesn't have memory, as we mentioned before, and it cannot read contents of messages sent. So the traffic between these things are the traffic in this overledger system is encrypted, so you have privacy. It's basically a node service provider. It runs nodes in various projects, etc., etc. So that is a gist of what this project does. So now I'm going to just get right into it. So I do expect there to be increase in demand of the token in the future. Now, right now, it is risky, because the project is having, the project had 4x in 1 month, so it's in a very volatile place right now. So whenever something is going straight up, you want to be very, very careful when entering it, so that it has price risk with it, and it is a $2 billion market cap, so it's not a small market cap, so you have to watch out for that. That's one, and so that's why I put all of this activity right here as being read as being cautionary, such as, this is what this whole section here is. What this whole section here is the section about, the time in local time price movements. So it's not the long term, but the short term type of thinking. Now, that being said, the token distribution is pretty good. And it will have a low inflation rate on how its tokens are released. About 12 million of the tokens belong to the public, and 3 million belong to the company. So it's actually a pretty equitable distribution. As far as awareness goes, the token is it's medium awareness. It's not like something that people are super aware of, but you're not early either. And in fact, it's having hype right now. So once again, all of this side of the equation is cautionary. Now, regarding this thing, it has an open niche that it's servicing right now, which is that overledger. And it connects Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. However, there is one thing that I will say that I don't like, is there's know your client stuff involved. needed for mainnet access, and I personally don't like that. I believe the blockchain future, like the best stuff, is the stuff that doesn't require permission. All right, now regarding token use for governance or services, the token is not used for governance at all, but it is used. It is an ERC20 token. It pays for licensing fees. So, it is the payment method, so it's priced in, like, the payments, the services provided for this overledger are priced in USD, and they use the Quant token to access those services. So the token is tied to the success of the platform, and that's what you want to see. It funds the treasury. It's locked for payment channels, for channels into the network. You stake the tokens for activating and allowing for transactions on the overledger system. It's basically licensing for gateways. All users, developers, operators need Quant to use the system. So the token is used for the platform and is tied to its success. Regarding the target market, interoperability with any blockchain in a simple manner. And so it's basically TCP for the crypto space, or for the financial transaction market. And I'd say this market's about a $20 trillion market. And one of the reasons I'd say that that's about the size is the founder himself said, when he was talking about who's his competition, he said it's not Polkadot, it's not blockchains. And I'd actually agree based on the structure of how this thing has no memory. It has no memory because it's not a blockchain. So its real competition is the Swift network, Tenemos, and Fiserv. And, this is interbank telecommunications, enterprise software for banks, which is 1 billion, and financial services. So that is their competition. And I looked at the market size of that, and it's about a $1 trillion in cash flow, which would be about a $20 trillion market. So that's about the size of the market that this thing is delivering. And this thing is $2 billion market cap. So if it captured 80% of that market, you could expect something like, let me see, you can expect like an $800 billion market cap. In cash flow, the upside potential of something like this could be big, but I do think that they will have competition. And I don't even know what the futures of banks will look like. But that's for another topic, entirely. But, back to the market. So the market is pretty big though. And that's always something you want to see in a project you're going to invest in, is that the market is pretty big. There's no fees that burn tokens, but the tokens do disappear out of supply until the gateways are closed. The token itself is not a dividend or burning mechanism. Okay, so as far as governance, the token itself does not have governance. This thing's like a traditional company. It's governed by a board of directors, and the token does not represent governance. So one thing I will say is one thing I don't like about things like that is this token doesn't give you any rights. It is not ownership of this platform, and what's to stop them from throwing the token to the side in the future? If the company starts doing really well, why do they have to run the funds through the QNT token? Now, that requires trust. What I like is things that are programmed in, but that's one element to consider. And I'm sure that the Quant token is programmed right there at that access point layer, so it is automatically a part of it. But what's to stop them from changing it in the future? Because the token is not representative of consensus, and the token has no governance over this platform. And so in reality, the token is basically a mechanism for realizing the fund flow of this company. So you get, as long as that token has that relationship that it currently has with all the funds moving through that token, the token will grow with the company, like this overledger service provided, as long as the token is there. But what keeps the token there? It's not part of the ownership. The token does not represent ownership, but it does go up with their cash flow, which is it is what it is. It seems to me it's almost like a tool used as a means for allowing for the public to have access to the revenues that this overledger service company realizes, and to allow for the company to allowing for people to access that. So it seems like they're just using Ethereum technology, the Quant token, to allow for people to access their fund flow. Okay, so as far as building new business, like the moat, I do think that if companies build on this platform, they're not going to move. Like once you build your business logic here, you're not going to move because that's difficult, and you don't want to do that. Because you build out your business logic and then you have to change everything's up. So once you build here, you will stay. There will be a moat kind of. Okay, my prediction. Now I put a little statement here. My prediction is all the banks will be gone in 20 years. One of the things people don't realize, and I don't like that this thing is going so much for relationships with banks, but it is also realizing that yes, blockchains are the future, and they could obviously, the bank, there's going to be this huge period in time when the transition happens. So, I'm not saying that it won't poise to make huge benefit from having a relationship with banks, but the future is bankless. The banks are gone. I'm putting that out there. Like, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but blockchain technology makes it to every single bank that exists today will be gone in 20 years. So that is something to consider. And this project is, it's not competing with Polkadot, Cosmos, or any of the other interoperability blockchains. It aims to be a service layer, nothing more than the connection between systems. So that's just some of the stuff I stated earlier. So basically the market that I see that these guys are going for mostly is the regulated banking connections, the blockchain's connection, and allowing for business logic to be built, allowing for these guys to build their apps. And that is pretty lucrative and can be a pretty good place to be. The blockchain space, guys, cryptocurrency is a gold rush. And I was watching a video earlier, and they were saying how it's the Wild West, and it is indeed. There are so many companies that are going to be successful, and one of the things that I was thinking about with this project is it's amazing how many companies are going to be successful, because this isn't going to be something where there's 5 companies. No, this is going to be something where there's 50 to 100 companies, and they're all doing different service layers for the financial future, because the old world is moving to crypto. Crypto is the gold rush, and there's going to be countless companies that do different things that are completely valid business models. All right, and so regarding the impressive achievements of the CEO, Gilbert Verdian, and there's also Martin Hagraves and Peter Maricenes, CTO and the CPO. So Gilbert Verdian, he's the CEO and he's the director. Like he worked at Cisco as the biggest job that I think that he did was Cisco's chief technical officer and the chief information officer. He also worked as digital security for BP Oil, many security projects for HSBC Bank, chief technical officer for HM Treasury, United States Federal Reserve as a regulatory relationship, and he developed this common standard, the ISO TC 307 standard for international standards for common page practices for blockchains. So, he's working on building out the infrastructure, building out the their CEO is very good with the regulatory framework, the banking relationships, and creating common standards that are going to be accepted internationally so that people can get on a common page. So that is very good stuff. So he's had important positions, and he's done $1 billion startup, which is this company, and also worked at $1 billion companies. Evidence that the team is trustworthy. Now, one of the things I didn't like is that a lot of their NDAs, regarding revenues, they don't like disclosing their revenues. So I don't like that they're not very open. I like things that are on a blockchain that are open to the public that anyone could see. So I will put that out there. And also, back in the day, the CEO stated that there would be no token and no ICO. However, when there was all the hype in 2018, there was an ICO, and the QNT token was created. So that's a kind of a flip-floppy thing that happened there. And the old roadmap was not completed, and there's, many things, many NDAs in the relationship. So I put this as an uncertainty here. However, this is obviously like they're validated through their history, that kind of thing. But I don't like the angle of this. One of the things I don't like is that it's closer to an old company, like an old style of non-disclosure agreements and all that. I would say some curse words, but I personally don't like the old system. I like the new system because blockchain is open for anyone. But that being said, there's huge opportunities in this business because it will probably do very well. However, I personally am more, I like things that are, like anyone can access. And, that is one of the things about this token is it looks like there's like not things in life are not 100% either way. And this project is, like it seems like it wants to be like the old world with the NDAs and keep some of this privacy, etc. But it also seems like it wants to have the free liberty of the new world by creating this QNT token, which allows for anyone to access their revenue models, which, is a good thing, is a freedom thing for any individual who's, young and wants to invest in something new and capture that growth as it happens. They can, because they can access this QNT and they don't have to deal with, like all these accredited investor crap laws that, keep people from getting wealthy. So it seems to embrace both worlds in a sense. Now, regarding the long-term vision, like simplicity of blockchain connecting to each other, developer motivation should be well. They got plenty of funds for it, and there's also funds that go to the treasury. So I expect development to continue into the future. Regarding the blockchain business demand, I think it will have business demand for many of its gateways as they open up. And all these other things regarding there's major onboards or a bunch of banking relationships, like Hyperledger Quilt, LACC chain, which is Latin America banking. They have a lot of banking connections, like the SIA. American Web Services Amazon Web Services is pretty big as well. So they got billion-dollar partnerships potentially lined up there. Now, regarding developer experience, they have some proprietary stuff, which will hurt the developer experience, but they do have software development kits and nodes as a service, so I expect the developer experience to be smooth. User experience, I expect it to be smooth with those maps when they build it on top of this platform. First mover, it's kind of a first mover it is a first mover in its unique approach. So I do expect it to get some network effect and, tokens per person, etc. However, right now it does have that price risk from recent skyrocket of price. I think I covered all of this. Okay, so finally, the pros and the cons. They have an experienced leader, blockchain agnostic infrastructure, so that's always good. You want to find something that's blockchain agnostic. It's not connected to any particular project. It'll be successful depending on their business. And institutional and regulatory friendly, so it is good. From an adoption standpoint, regulators might be friendly towards them. The cons, it's in dangerous price action territory. The token does not have a voice in the future of the platform. So it has no governance role, no consensus role. So what's to stop them from throwing the token to the side? Because the token has no control or relevance. It is a means for accessing their revenue models. As far as high value user compared to other projects, one of the other risks that it has is, how many users, how many wallets there are on the platform versus the market cap is actually kind of high compared to other projects. So that's a warning sign as well. So it looks like there's some big bags or big money pockets on this project. And it may have a struggle to keep up with the change. And one of the things I was saying with that is, if this is Overledger and these are all the blockchains, it'll have to keep up with the gateways to each one of these blockchains as they upgrade, and I imagine that would be quite a workload. So there could be some risk with this approach, with that, because all these systems will be changing constantly, so the approach might be wrong. But it could also work out if they actually figure out a process for staying up with upgrades of these systems. Okay, so I think I might have. And finally, so for the final three checkoffs, low market cap with accomplished CEO, I put no. Early to social media, it's not early to social media. It's kind of in the middle on that one. And live niche, it does have a live niche. All right. So that is my review of the Quant network. I try to do these things as unbiased as possible, and I try to bring you the most relevant information and the best in-depth review of these. The next video I'm going to do is for my patrons, and it will be my price analysis and my actions taken as of right now and in the future.